Hello, American. Welcome to another installment of our Freedom series, where we talk about what freedom is, what freedoms we actually have, and take a close look at our constitutional amendments. Right here, right now, on the lost art of common sense.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Josh.
And this is the lost art of common sense. Freedom 1.2.
Oh, yeah.
So, obviously, it's part of our Freedom series. We didn't finish last week. So, we're finishing this week on the First Amendment. So, let's get right to it from where we left off. Josh.
Yes, sir.
The right to peaceably assemble. When does something become not peaceful? Is it when violence happens? Is it when they stop traffic? Is there any other instances when something can be unconstitutional?
I think if you're doing anything that damages public or private property, impeding emergency vehicles and stuff from doing their job, that would probably not fall under peaceably assemble. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, the word peaceably can be, it's all up to interpretation, so you never know. I mean, what could be considered peaceable one year may be considered a felony the next. So, I mean, I would think, you can't block an interstate. That's illegal. You can't block commerce. So, I mean, I don't know. It's like when you're talking about the truckers in Canada, how they had the entire city blocked down. I mean, they don't have the same rights we do, so it's neither here nor there. But like, say we did that in Washington. Oh, wait, we couldn't because the Washington, D.C. police or the Gestapo blocked the truckers from making it into town. But if they had the city so gridlocked to where like fire trucks and ambulances and stuff like that can do their job, then, you know.
Yeah, but they didn't even let them in, right?
No, they didn't. So we wouldn't even know. At least if they made it in, I didn't hear about it. All I heard about is they were not letting them in and then blaming them for backing up traffic, even though they were the ones that closed the road.
So,
could you please leave so I could stop blocking the road and therefore blocking traffic? Because it's 100% your fault, not mine. Because my boss told me to do this.
Dude, that just like surmises what the government is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good representation of what the government is. Blocks everything up and blames somebody else.
Yeah, that gating that they put around the Capitol and everything, anytime they're doing something, like, it's just them, like, showboating, or not showboating.
Virtue signaling.
Virtue signaling, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not that important. I mean, seriously.
No one cares that much.
Everybody thinks, and I know they do in Washington, that our senators, congressmen, even the president are these super important people. Well, they are because, I mean, they run the country. But in our everyday lives, if they just stop coming to work for months at a time, like, say, our transportation secretary, you wouldn't notice.
No one notices. No one cares.
You shouldn't notice government, period. Like, if government's
Joe Biden
doing
could
its
take
job,
the next 3 years off and no one would notice.
No, you get a lot of thank you cards.
You probably get a better run government. I think you probably
If he really wants to get his poll numbers up, he should just stop showing up for work.
I think you would get a better run government if none of them came in for months.
Well, that's just it. I think if the government's doing their job, you don't know they're there.
Yeah.
But like every single one of those truckers and whoever headed toward Washington for the Freedom Convoy should sue, because that was an infringement on the right.
Oh, for sure.
And then they turn around and be like, well, you're blocking the interstate. No, your roadblocks blocking the interstate. So technically, you're breaking the law. But yeah, and then, well, in the last part of that, which I think we both agree is considered talking shit about the government, I even think that's under attack, and it's like, because there's political prisoners. Like, you can say what you want about January 6 people, but there are people that have been in prison, been in jail since January 6th of over a year ago and haven't been charged yet. And I looked it up. I tried looking it up. The only thing I could ever see that could be suspended as far as constitutional rights go, is habeas corpus, which basically means you have to be charged for a crime. They just can't hold you indefinitely without charging you. That can be suspended during a time of emergency, like active war, stuff like that. And I think they may be trying to half-ass use that as an excuse for having all these people in apparently gross jail conditions and not charging them.
Didn't somebody just kill themselves?
Yes.
Yeah, that was because of why? Was it because of the conditions?
Well, I think he was in jail for a while, and then he got out, and then they were going to come after him again for something else, and he killed himself because I'm assuming he just got. I mean, they ruined his life. I mean, that's the federal government, the Department of Justice, going after citizens, whether or not you agreed with the people on January 6th, whether or not they went inside the building or not. If it's just one of the cattle that just, hey, where are we going now? Oh, we're going in here. Whatever. What's going on right now is not, I don't care. It may be in your favor now. That is not a country you want to live in.
Agreed.
I mean, that should scare I don't care if you're the farthest left Democrat and you just, oh man, I want the hammer and sickle. And not only because it's fun to say and to look cool, but because then I get told how to live my life.
Well,
and when to eat.
Well, they should have a right to speak.
That should freak you out because the pendulum always swings.
Yep. And shouldn't they, they should have a right to the, speedy process, right?
Yeah, that's like literally...
that's one of the constitutional rights.
We will be covering on this show.
Yeah.
So it's that's a big thing. Like, that's like one of the best things about America. It's funny. I mean, but you can talk shit about the president or whoever, and you're free to do so.
And yeah, you absolutely should be able to. Because if you got,
I can see if you're obviously you can't do stupid stuff like call for violence or something. Don't pull a Madonna. But
you can't threaten his life, but I think you should be able to.
And here's another thing, and I think we will have an episode just on January 6th. And then we're going to call it, I think we're going to have a playlist of conspiracy theory shows. And then conspiracy theory-ish shows. Because, and the only reason I say that is because we know it's not conspiracy theory. But others might say that it is.
Well, it's not a conspiracy theory because it's because we agree on it.
Well, that is true.
So, it's 100% consensus as far as I know.
In the land of the lost art of common sense, it is not a conspiracy theory because it's...
Well, it's just funny, all these conspiracy theories that are coming true. Hunter Biden's laptop. Anyone?
Hunter, flat Earth. I mean...
Flat Earth?
Things are coming
we do
true.
not agree on flat Earth.
Wait.
If you think flat Earth is true...
I'm not saying it is true. I'm just saying that it's a thing.
It's a conspiracy theory.
You know what? I haven't made it on top of the building yet with my telescope, so I cannot confirm 100% whether or not the Earth is
the fact
flat.
that you're not doing that is not cool because you should.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to wave at somebody in Oklahoma City from the tower atop the Cap Rock and say, "See? Hi, flat earther." And if I can't see him, I'm gonna have to say, begrudgingly, that the Earth is in fact round, like we discovered probably hundreds, if not 1,000 years ago.
Yeah,
probably
the fact that I don't know how it came to be true or how everybody mocked it was round, then they mocked it was flat. Now we're back to people thinking it's flat again. It's like a, it's like a circle.
See, back in the day, though, they just,
almost.
But they didn't really, well, it's kind of weird, though, because if you go...
A circle of idiocy.
It is a circle of idiocy. Just keeps coming back. It's a circle of life, but instead of life, it's whether or not we actually live on a similar shape to every other astral body in the universe.
Yeah.
We're the one exception.
Everything but us is
But,
round.
no, that, I don't know. It's like back in the. But see, if you go to ancient civilizations, they had a pretty good understanding of astrology. Like, I don't think, like, I think once we started getting on boats, people are like, you better watch it out going out on that water. You might go off the edge. You better pack for a space voyage.
Well, there's some kind of ice ring in there at the end. And that,
well, way back in the day, though, they didn't know about the ice wall.
They didn't know about the ice wall. What happens if the ice wall melts? What is that global?
See, I would have to say that
does
the
flat
ice
Earth
wall,
have global warming?
But here's the thing, though. I'm pretty sure you can go down to Antarctica and sail around it.
Oh, you
so
absolutely
is the ice
can.
wall the North Pole?
I don't know. It doesn't matter what. I mean, does global warming exist to a flat earther?
Well, if it is, that would be a computer problem because if we were a flat Earth, we'd be a space station. So
I'm just
like,
saying.
Hey, someone needs to get down there and change that server. It's hot.
It's either flat Earth is true or global warming is true, because you can't have both, because eventually them ice caps are gonna melt into space or wherever things at the edge melt.
The dome's going to fill up with water.
Or the space will. I don't know how this works. Is it a dome?
That's what happened to Mars, Kevin. What happened to Mars.
Is that what they think? Is there a dome? Like, what kind of dome?
Yeah, otherwise we'd be
atmosphere?
dead. God. Kevin, you need to do your flat Earth research. I know just about all there is to know about flat Earth.
I am not doing any kind of flat Earth research because it is retarded.
It is a dome. Have you seen the Simpsons movie? You know where they put the dome down? It's that.
So it's just a big glass dome somebody made?
Yes.
Who made it?
Aliens.
This gets dumber and dumber as I get.
I don't know about that. I don't know. There are just certain things that you're like, well, here's the one thing. You have to be living in a life where, like, most of your, like, primal needs are taken care of as far as, like, food, shelter. It's like to where you have time to ponder, is the Earth round or is it flat? What BS can I write for my thesis to get my master's in theoretical cultural studies? That's a thing. Probably not. I don't know. I made that up. I lied.
Yeah, I don't know. All right. So,
but
where did we end off at? We need to
we were talking
we need to rein
about
this in a little bit.
I think we were talking about how it's fun to talk crap about the government, but
we just started talking crap about flat earthers. Well, I did.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, well, don't be.
I don't really care. No, what we were basically saying is, like, one of the great things about America, because you can't go over, and like when I said last week, the word fat is probably outlawed in North Korea. I mean, it probably is, because that dude's fat and he doesn't like getting made fun of. So,
Well, yeah.
But they have
no one likes being made fun of, especially.
But a lot of countries
you can't
talk. Oh yeah, he went golfing for the first time, and I think he only got like 15 holes in ones. But the first time ever golfing, like.
Well, I mean, he's.
But that's that stuff sounds ridiculous and funny, but that's the exact crap that's going on in the United States.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Obviously not to that extent. Like,
no.
Yeah, he looked at the driver and it levitated out of the bag and hit a hole in one. Mind golfing.
Well, I mean, that's all he's got to do. They probably dug a hole as he hit.
Probably. The hole's like, the size of the green.
But yeah, no,
it
is cool that we can talk crap about our government because they deserve it, because 90% of them are effing idiots. And I really don't know how they get elected other than somebody.
I think people go to either
money.
people either don't vote or they just go and just vote. Like, I'm pretty sure in Texas you can just hit Republican and it votes for everyone on the Republican ticket. That's the importance, though. And I think the big problem is people don't pay attention to primaries. Like, if you're not happy with your congressman or senator, and they're running that year, you need to pay attention to who's running against them. And if you want something to change and you want to get these people that have been in government for almost half a century, you have to primary them out.
Yeah.
And then you can just click the Democrat or Republican thing and it auto votes for everybody. But like, I think that's how, because they're like, oh, you got to have a ton of money. You got to have a ton of money. It's because nobody does anything anymore. Like nobody goes to town halls, or they get like, whoever has the most Facebook ads gets the most votes or some shit. So, but people need to look at, especially the ones that are in office, they need to look at what they've been voting on, what they're saying, and like what they're saying to you when they're in your district and what they're doing in Washington. And if those things aren't lining up, got to get them out.
Agreed. And usually, I think everybody has good intentions going in for the most part, but then they get corrupted by the line.
Yeah, I don't think that probably takes that long.
No, all they're doing is waving a check. Somebody with a lot of money. I mean, that's usually why do you think we're doing these vaccines? You think that Pfizer didn't freaking wave a bunch of money in front of people?
Did you know that the CEO of Pfizer apparently is a veterinarian?
No.
He's not a doctor. He's not like an MD.
Did you just notice that they changed how many deaths for children there were?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, granted, we're not being told that Biden is the reincarnation of Jesus or anything, but like, if you actually pay attention and listen to the crap that they're telling people, the stuff that they're expecting us to believe is about as dumb as this, like them telling people in North Korea that Kim Jong-un doesn't go number 2 because he doesn't have a butthole. Like, I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
That can't be a thing. That cannot be a thing.
No, I think they might have told their people that. Like I say,
does
1,000 times.
Like when he eats food, he just he uses all of it?
Yes, his body is so efficient and so perfect that he uses every single nutrient that comes into his body, which is also, that could explain why he's kind of puffy, even though he has lost weight recently. What was I looking up on the internet?
I think if the Pfizer guy was a vet.
Oh yeah, yep.
I'm fascinated by this whole Kim Jong-un doesn't have a butthole.
Yeah.
Like, does he have a penis? Or is he like a Ken doll?
He's got one of those. He's got a...
Does he have bathrooms in his palace?
Well, only for going number 1.
You know, what they should be doing is just not having
He's a
toilets.
former veterinarian.
It's nothing but... Oh my God.
Yeah. He's a former vet.
So he's not...
But he's like, you're definitely going to need the 4th dose. The 4th dose will work wonderful, but the first 3 are shit. You still need the 3, but get the 4. Omicron and Delta had the baby, and he's a nasty baby with colic.
Is he Russian?
He has an accent. I don't know if that's the accent.
Oh, well, I didn't know.
This is just my way of saying that he doesn't have the U.S. accent.
No, it was a very good accent what you did.
Why, thank you.
It didn't make any... I mean, it was probably the totally wrong accent, but it was a very good accent.
Possibly. But yeah, but like, that's the same crap though. Like, granted, they say stuff like Kim Jong-un doesn't poop. And then they tell us, if you think about it though, and just base it on fact, the stuff that they're telling us here or expecting people to believe are just as stupid.
Oh yeah.
They're just slightly harder to pick up on, but like, I mean, when you got, Fauci crisscrossing on masks and like, oh, the masks don't really do nothing. You just stay, wash your hands, don't cough in other people's faces, do stuff like that. Oh no, you're going to have to put a mask on top of a mask surrounded by another mask. And then, possibly when you're vaccinated, you can go out and everything will be back to normal. Except for now you are vaccinated, and we're still going to need you to wear a mask because you're vaccinated, but you could spread it, get it, and in rare, some odd cases, you could die from it. But, yeah, so we don't need the mask no more. I mean, we do need the masks.
I'm not going to lie. Your impressions today Very good.
That's because this is about the third time we've tried doing this, and I've had a couple of these.
Yeah, that's true. We've had some technical difficulties today.
I'm gonna look that up.
Just to let you know.
How do you spell his name?
I did just improve my internet while you were
did
talking.
How'd you do that?
Because I went to my internet service and upgraded to 1 gig.
Oh. See, America, he's doing that for you.
For you. Because it is costing a little bit more money.
Doesn't.
But I love you guys. And I want you to share that love with... What do we...
I'm going to have to fact check myself. I was wrong. North Korea claims its leader, Kim Jong-un, does not pee or poop.
Oh, would you look at that? So, is he a Ken doll?
Possibly. That's why he's so bloated. He's not getting rid of his waist.
I mean, does he have a wife?
You know what? I don't know. He probably has like 6 of them.
I'm just saying, they honestly can tell. Like, you think one of them's like reached in and tried to put a finger in where his butthole should be and be like, oh my God, you don't have a butthole.
Why would they be doing that?
Just to check to see if he had a butthole or not.
His wife?
I don't know.
His wife is 32 years old, and her name is Risol Jew.
Yeah, that's Risol Jew.
Yeah. You know who's... I tell you one thing, when that dude went missing, his sister, I think, is crazier than him.
Yeah.
She's got a look about her.
Yeah.
Like, it's unsettling.
Yeah, she's from a family of crazy people, so... I mean,
well, that's true. I'll tell you one thing. Their dad's haircut and just, like, the way he...
I think he's still the leader. Their dad, even though he's dead.
Well, wouldn't that make their grandpa the leader?
I don't know.
Because if he's a god and he doesn't pee or poop, do they die?
Well, probably from congestion and constipation.
So, what I'm getting at, talking about the lack of peeing and pooping by the North Korean dictator, is that although this sounds ridiculous, there are certain things that are being fed to us through the media that if you're paying attention or weighed against any type of real fact is sounds just about as dumb. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, there's nobody going to believe that. And then before you know it, there's
the people alone in I'm sure car. People in, from the left wing were, I'm sure, say the same thing when Trump said shit, But they also... misconstrued what Trump said to make it sound like an idiot, like putting bleach in your blood or whatever. I'm pretty sure he didn't really say that, but so I think on both sides, well, I mean, it's always on the left usually that, they either falsify what something is said or they embellish, I guess would be the word.
Yeah, they'll take something and run with it.
Or they'll just cancel
they take snippets. That's what they did to Joe Rogan, where they went through and I did find it surprising though how many times they found him dropping the N-bomb on a show, within context or not.
Yeah, I know.
It's just like, wow, you said that a few times.
Like, I don't think you should say it ever, really. I mean, I don't see how you can.
No, it's not my. It should be, and that should be. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, or anything. That word should just be thrown on the heap of. Well, yeah, like that word should be like the swastika. Like the swastika used to stand for peace. Like it was like this nice symbol of unity and now peace. Well, the Nazis ruined that, so we don't use the swastika anymore. Yeah. The same should probably go with the N word, but like they take that stuff, chop it all up, and then send it out. I mean, that's what the left does. I'm sure there's right-wing people that do it too.
There's absolutely, because I've caught podcasts and stuff doing that shit that I listen to, right-wing podcasts.
I've caught that stuff on Tucker Carlson before, where they'll cut something off and they said it, but what led up to it, but
they don't put it in context at all either. So I mean, It's a media thing. I mean, that's why the media is garbage, and you should come to us for your
Well, and here's what I don't
media
understand. Like, I
entertainment.
guess in order to get the media to change, and I'm not really for boycotts. I mean, I think they're dumb. Even though, well, I say that, but I won't ever buy Carhartt again. But like the reason why CNN and all these things have like you always hear about how they have no viewership, their ratings are always crap and all this, but somehow they're still there. It's because they still keep getting advertising. So, and if you've noticed with this, what is it, ERG score, which is part of the Great Reset.
I've never even heard of this ERG score.
Oh my God! Oh, America, Kevin is in the dark. I'm here to enlighten you, though.
Is this
ERC, the ERG, and it could be the wrong initials because
Well, now I feel like
ERG score. I'm pretty sure that's the thing. But what it is, it's like, have you heard of China's social credit scoring?
is it like a
If you're
like a credit score?
it's like are you a good communist? It's like that.
Oh, that makes
ERG
sense.
score. I might have the letters wrong. I'm not good with letters.
There's even a calculator for it.
It is a calculator. Okay, so what this is, it's basically the way I understand it is it kind of determines how woke your company is.
No.
Like they look at companies, and the way this is going to work is if you're not backing certain movements, stuff like that, your score goes down. And what happens is, and the way they're doing it is they're getting into the banks. So if you have a low ERG score, you're not going to be able to get loans.
What?
Yeah.
There's no way that's legal.
That's how they're doing it. Now, there are states that are actually passing legislation that is basically if any bank does anything with ERG scores, they can't do business in that state, and that's how we're going to have to stop it. That's why, like, right now, I don't care if you're on the left or right. You don't have to be, an economic scientist or a socialist scientist or whatever, an economist to know that the country is not doing good right now. So we have big problems. Well, the fastest way to make a big change is with small changes, and that's local level and working up from there. You need, your towns, your, city, states, then you go for the Fed. But, because that's a good thing about us being a republic, though, because if we have a federal government, we're basically a country made up of 50 smaller countries. I mean, that's how that works.
Yeah.
And that there are states fighting back. And what's going to happen is you're going to be able to, if you want someone looking at your Facebook or Twitter feed or whatever and seeing if you did or didn't support this, said or said that, and that's what determines whether or not you get a loan, keep chugging on down those rails because that's where we're headed. But that's why you have these companies coming out, chime in on stuff it has nothing to do with them. Like, the one thing I always thought about business is you can advertise on a show or whatever, and maybe that might show where it is. But why are these companies on Twitter and stuff chiming in on social issues?
They shouldn't. They shouldn't be anything. They shouldn't have anything to
it's
do
like
with it. They should be a company that they should be neutral, like most companies should, unless they're specifically making dyed hair wigs for transgender men. I mean, I don't understand why.
Well, yeah, you support that because that's going to push your profits.
Yeah,
but ultimately, if you own a business, your goal is to make money.
Yeah, I would say 80% of the country is either center left or center right.
Yeah, I would say a mass majority of the country is going to be pretty well level-headed. And I'm not going to lie, I lean to the right, obviously, but
yeah. Hey,
I do not support the Republican Party.
Hey, pause it. I got pee.
Well, if you're going to the bathroom, I'm going to the bathroom.
Perfect.
And we're back. I don't remember what we were talking about, so we're going to get into, I wanted to talk about what, the idea of freedom and what it actually is. So I'm going to ask Kevin a question. Kevin, when you hear the word freedom, what do you Freedom. What do you think? What pops into your head?
Freedom is tangible, I guess. You don't have there's certain freedoms that you don't have. You can't walk around naked. You can't, murder people. Freedom has a limit. And this country, above all countries, I think, provides the most freedom you can have as a citizen in the world. Because we do have the freedom of speech, we have the freedom to bear arms, we have the freedom to choose who our representatives are, who our president is.
Well, we have a piece of paper that says all that.
Yeah, so I think our Constitution is probably the best Constitution in the world.
I would agree with that. Of all time.
Of all time. But, again, it took a lot of bloodshed to make this freedom work. So freedom isn't free. It has cost a lot of lives. It has cost a lot of heartache. It's taken a lot to get to where we're at right now. And when you look at the country where it's at right now, I feel that people are spitting on what all those people did to make our country as free as it is and as great as it is. And there's people that literally hate this country, and because they have the freedom to, which is ironic.
Yeah, there are a lot of countries where
they hate this
people
country.
said what they say about America and other countries, they'd be in prison.
Well, look at Russia right now. I mean, people are getting thrown in the gulag for talking against the war in Ukraine. I mean,
yeah.
People were protesting Vietnam. People were protesting the Iraqi war. They were protesting the Afghan war. I mean, we have the freedom to do that, but and people just take advantage, or it's not advantage. I can't think of the word.
I'd say they take it for granted.
Where they take it for granted. That's what I was thinking. They take it for granted what they have here. And, it's like you ever see like those little, like you see those shows about those rich little bastards, like those rich kids?
I don't.
Where they get their sports card.
I don't watch shows like that, but yes, I do know what you're talking about. I've seen the previews.
Well, I mean, you've heard of shows. Yeah, you see the previews like where a little rich fuck, he gets his sports card taken away, and he bitches and moans and cries, but he doesn't know how good he has it compared to a kid that lives in a trailer park.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you're talking about is like privilege, and we've heard about that a lot. And I think what people don't realize is you going out and bitching about the country and this or that, and even firebombing some shit, and people not get in trouble, that is privilege. That is first world American freedom privilege. You have the privilege to go out and do that, because in a lot of other countries, you go out and try that bullshit, and you're going to jail. And see, when I think of the word freedom, like it sounds like one of those good sounding, like warm, fuzzy words.
Fuck yeah.
Freedom! But it's like the exact opposite, though, when you think about it, because like when I think of freedom, I think of like responsibility and self-determination. Like you're free to forge your own path. So with freedom comes responsibility. Like, with great power comes great responsibility. But like,
thanks, Uncle Ben.
You're welcome. But it's true though, because if you're free, like freedom, like when you think about it, is dirty, it's dangerous, it's hard work. Because if you have freedom, then you have freedom. You have freedom of movement. You have you're not being surveilled. You're not being controlled. So there's always that.
We're not being surveilled.
Well, we are 100% being surveilled. But if we were actually living in a real free country, then that wouldn't be a thing. But yeah, we were 100% being surveilled. But
yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I'll be interested to find out if the show ever takes off. If I go to fly in a plane and like, I saw episode 4. No, do not pass go.
You ain't on this list. You on that list that says you can't fly.
But with freedom comes
a Southern woman.
Huh? I don't know.
Nothing.
Because they can be nice while being mean at the same time.
That is true. Oh, honey, you ain't allowed to be on this plane.
The best backhanded compliments come with the Southern accent. Because you'll be like,
That's true.
Thank you. Wait, what? But no, like, you got to think about it. Like, it's self-responsibility to where, like, there's always a chance that someone's going to take advantage of the freedom and infringe on somebody else's freedom. Like, people always freaked out about guns or something. Like, anytime you expect more security from the government, whether it be security, stability, whatever, financial security, protection-wise, you have to give freedom up in order for that. If you're not willing to take care of yourself and you're wanting to lean on the government to take care of you and give you what you need, then you're giving up freedom. And at some point, that's going to bite you in the ass. All these morons that keep voting for this left-wing socialist shit, at some point, I know you think in the back of your mind, I'm going to sit around and I'm going to play video games all day in my basement. And I'm just going to... That always reminds me of that one movie, I think it's called Gamer, where that husky fellow is sitting in his chair playing video games, like taking a fistful of waffles and dumping it into like a paint bucket full of syrup. Like, that's the current future I see for a lot of people in this country. But that's not going to happen. See, what's going to happen is at some point you're going to get this little letter in the mail and it's going to say, this is your job and this is when and where you're going to do it. And if you don't do it, then the stuff you get is going to get throttled back. And the only reason I say that
weirdly
is because it's happened throughout human history. Human history is just full of, regular people being held.
I just want to let you know that weirdly that sounds like communism.
No, well, that's because
it's weirdly how socialists become a communist country.
Yeah, socialism always leads to communism, and I just say that because that's the way it's always happened throughout human history. I know this one's going to be different. This one time, it's going to be great.
But what about the Baltic states or whatever? Is that the Scandinavian?
No, none of those are actual states. Like real socialists. And
no, they're No, they're all capitalist.
Well,
countries.
And the reason, and people,
they have socialist programs.
Well, and what people don't talk about is the reason why they're allowed to do that is because the U.S. and you've heard about it lately.
Has 330 million people.
Well, no, you've heard about it lately because it, with all the stuff in NAFTA, not NAFTA. What is that?
NATO.
But we put in more than it's supposed to be. Like what, 2%, 1 or 2% of GDP. Whatever it is, we put in more, and most countries put in less to none. And these are the countries that have we have free college education and health care. Well, that's because the American taxpayers are paying for your defense. If somebody goes and attacks you and you're a NATO country, the United States, who foots most of the bill, is going to protect you. And that's why everyone got all ticked off at old Donald Trump, because he's like, hey, you said you're still going to pay 2%. You're going to pay 2%. It's bullshit. And I know that's not how he talks.
I wish it was.
You said you're going to pay. I can't do it, Donald Trump. I'll work on it. But
you said you're going to pay.
It's wonderful.
No, I can't do it.
Beautiful. It's the best. You're going to pay
more. It's great.
But that's what he called them on. But
if
if you're not paying for your country's defense, we spend a shit ton of money on defense. Which, I'm fine with. I want to be the biggest, baddest, most high-tech, super awesome. I'm talking American military. But when people in our government are trying to circumvent what we are as a nation and use these other countries as an example of, well, they do it, so we can do it. No, that's not true. They're not paying for their defense, and they're being subsidized. Everything, anytime you get something for free, shit's getting subsidized somewhere. And that's why I don't know. I think generally, if you look at most things, and there are places for the government business, you start getting monopolies and stuff like that, then it's probably time to go in and break stuff up, like big tech and how they coordinate with each other and all that stuff. Not a big fan of that. But I don't think they should get into it though. Like I know that the government's gone in and broken companies up. Like nope, you got to separate this or that. I'm fine with that. But other than that,
like monopolies, yeah.
but most of the time, free market generally makes things better. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot of people out there that are super happy with Obamacare and like all that stuff that changed.
No, it brings. I mean, free market brings innovation. You don't become a. I mean, basically, if you become a socialist country, you don't have to innovate anything. You just
but innovation stops.
Stay as is.
I mean, look at Cuba. Look at the cars they drive in Cuba.
Yeah, what's the point of innovating if you don't get any reward for your innovation?
That's another thing, like this war against rich people. It's like, oh, he made all this money, but all the people are making the work. It's like, well, people don't go into the fact that when you start a business, it's a risk. So you're putting like your financial and, I mean, people will mortgage their house, all kinds of stuff to start a business. And then if it pays off, they make a lot of money. It was worth the risk. But then a lot of people fail at the same time. I mean, people like, if you want to be a rich innovator, then be a rich innovator. Don't bitch at the people that take the risk and do it. I mean, that's just me.
I think like 60% of small businesses go out of business in the first 2 years.
Is it small businesses or restaurants? I know restaurants have a huge turnover.
Yeah. But, I mean, people are putting their whole life against that, So, I mean, they should... the worker loses their job. I mean, it's sad, but, I mean, you don't lose your house. You don't lose everything.
Well, if you work for that company, you work for that guy and he goes under, you go find another job where that guy's having to deal with all the whatever happened to lead to the bankruptcy. And then, yeah, they're going to find something, hopefully. But there's, like, you just go, like, like with our job, like, okay, well, if we went under or whatever, I was like, all right, I need to find another job. But there's a whole bunch of other stuff that the people in charge that took the risk are going to have to deal with. So there's a lot to it that people just like, I hate rich people. I'm like, I don't. I'm going to be a rich person, so.
Yeah, I don't hate them. I just want to be them.
Yeah, and just pay their fair share shit. I mean, just go with the federal flat, sales tax then. That way all the drug addicts, illegal aliens. Unregistered.
90% of the taxes are paid by the top, 10%.
Yeah. Well, see, but that's
just in case you guys didn't know that is a true fact. The top 90% or 90% of the taxes paid to the government is paid by the top 10% of the population. Well, so they're paying their fair share.
Well, then they say like Amazon doesn't pay taxes. I mean, Amazon does pay taxes because they generate a ton of federal income tax through their employees and stuff like that, and through.
Well, I mean, and their state tax and all that crap that they just have to put on to where for their products and shit. So
yeah, I don't know all of it. Tax. I just know that I know that like when you earn $1, by the time it's spent, the amount of money that was actually yours that isn't like taxes have gone crazy
out of control.
Yeah,
everything's taxed. Your tax probably, I think at times you can probably be taxed up to 10 times.
Yeah, before it's all said and done.
$1. Yeah, and that is crazy. Because, I mean, I guess I'm getting taxed with representation, but I still feel like this tax is bullshit. Let's get this tea party going.
Well, that's why I think property tax should be illegal.
This shit sucks.
I think out of all the taxes, like, you hear these people say taxation is illegal, and I'd say the most bullshit tax is property tax. Because, I mean, you technically own nothing. It's like, well, you do own this plot of land as long as you're paying your taxes. But if you don't pay your taxes, then you don't own it.
See, I love the Wild West, man. When you just claim your own fucking land.
Homestead.
You just be like, this is mine. Yeah.
Sounds like Kevin needs to head up to the great Alaska.
I'd go to Alaska, but I fucking hate the snow. I can't even stand 2 months of snow here.
You can still homestead up there, but of course you also have to deal with like most of the year being all daylight,
bears,
all dark.
Yeah, I don't care about that shit. I'd rather be dark all the time. I hate the sunlight.
It's only that half of the year, Kevin, and then the other half you'd hate. The sun.
You can buy blackout blinds and shit. Who cares?
That's true. That's probably sold a lot up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically what I was getting at is real freedom is messy. It's dangerous, but it offers
we were on that.
it offers the most upward mobility for the average person. Because if you go back through world history, human society in general has been oppressed pretty much all through human history. Because there's always like a handful of assholes up top that hold everybody down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, they might not have been like even back in the old English days, when you had all the kings and queens. It's like, well, if you were a serf or you were a peasant, you were a peasant. That's all you ever were. Unless you rose up and took it. I mean, all kings back in the day were people that took it by force. There's no, all these people that, which got them into inbreeding problems, which is why you had some real goofy looking royal people. There's nothing special about them. There's nothing special about their blood. Their family at some point back in the day killed a bunch of people and took charge.
Yeah.
That's how that worked. And they're like, well, my special take charge blood is better than everybody else's, so you're going to marry your sister and we're going to have a super king. Ah, crap, he's a mongoloid. Let's try it again.
Try it again till you get a normal.
But, I mean, that's human history is littered with that shit.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, that's why America, people can talk crap all they want about America. At the end of the day, there has been more upward mobility, not just for the citizens of the United States, but for the world in this country. It's got its problems. It's not perfect. It never will be perfect. Nothing's perfect. But what? Say what? But they have the chance for making your life better is better here, and because of the way this country is set up than anywhere else on the planet. In the history of the planet. I mean, you can't argue that. Because the other thing, well, you get free shit over here, but you ain't free. I guarantee you government-provided healthcare is not as good as private healthcare.
Well, they're, those countries, their citizens are taxed like 50%.
Yes.
So, well, I mean, it's not free. No one understands free isn't free, you idiot. You're getting charged for it.
Well, and it's just like all the stuff they're paying for and all these free checks are sending everybody. Like, they're not even raising taxes. They're just printing money. So it's like, I got all this free money, but now a loaf of bread costs more. Or this costs more. Or this or that. And,
yeah, I don't understand how inflation works. Huh.
Yeah.
I don't understand why everything's raising. Oh, I don't know, because you just pumped your goddamn economy with trillions of dollars.
Funny money. It's not even funny.
So the economy's got to catch up because it's money that's not backed by anything. So
yeah, it's actually sad money, but it's not as fun to say.
So I mean, all you people who think Biden has nothing to do with gas prices or this inflation, you live in a delusional world.
Yeah, don't fall for the it's Russia.
Yeah, that Russia shit, because it was since he took office, the gas has constantly climbed every single month.
Yeah, that's nothing new. And then I guess when he was over in Poland, he was saying that there's going to be food shortages. And if there are food shortages, that's on you and your little transportation secretary. And people we grow tons of grain, everything. We could probably feed the world just out of the United States. I mean, you got to think most. I think
Iowa. I think it was said that Iowa alone could feed the world for 4 years.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you just got to think, because we're the number one hog producer, I think, that you guys are.
Yeah, number one hog, corn, and I think we're Iowa's number 2 in maybe cattle.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think, though, the whole middle of the country that all these people that live on the coast.
I'm not a farmer. I don't know for sure.
But the people on the coast that, they call us the flyover country, we're the ones that feed the freaking country.
Yeah, but they're also the ones that don't want, our voices to count because
we're stupid and uneducated. Except for we would be completely uneducated, except for some college.
Yeah, some college. That's what we got. Some college. Right. We're not complete idiots.
We're not total morons. We're just a touch.
I've got a few college credits under my belt.
Yeah, one semester, 1 year. 2 semesters. How does that work?
I went for 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year.
I think a year and a half almost. No, I went for a year and a half.
I don't know. I got tired of being broke and got a real job.
Half that year I didn't, like the last half, I just didn't go to school, so I don't think it counted. So,
I always went to school.
but I paid for it, so
never missed class.
I paid for a year and a half.
I showed up to a couple of my, I guess, communication, or is it a speech class? Is that an actual class?
I'm sure it is.
Learning to take speeches. I took one of those classes, and there was a couple times.
Was it debate?
No, it was like you just learn how to give speeches. So I guess it was speech class. But there was one day.
Is that where you learned your impressions?
No, I did show up half in the bag from the night before, and by half in the bag, I mean I was drunk.
That is college.
I got a B on my speech that I totally shot from the hip. I think.
See, that's what makes us great, man. Because we can just shoot from the hip and make a entertaining show for everyone.
That's true. I mean, I did get extra points for not using note cards because I made it up. But I got knocked on leaning on the podium, which I'm pretty sure I was
just
slurring.
For balance.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure I was slurring, but there was no knock for pronunciation. But if I wouldn't have been leaning on the podium, I probably would have. When you stand there and you can start walking sideways? I was in that condition. B+, people, B+. But, that's why I just think that people need to... It's scary. Freedom's scary. I can see how people would be... I can see how people would think the idea of freedom is scary. I mean, because it requires a lot of self-responsibility.
Yeah.
Like, it's all on you. When you live in a free nation, it's all on you. And I get that. But, I mean, there's been a definite lack of pride, I think, that has come from, just going, whether you have a college degree or not, just going to work, doing something, building something, just pride, in your life. I mean, I was in a conversation with a guy and I don't know how we got into talking about it. We were talking about coal miners in Kentucky or something. And this dude was thinking like, oh, they're just stuck. They're like the coal miner, that's all they know how to do. And I was like, well, you kind of
make a pretty good living coal mining.
Well, I was like, you kind of sound like you're thinking these people are too dumb to do anything else. There's pride. A lot of pride that goes into that kind of work. And he's like, oh, well, it's like, well, if you grew up on a farm, you'd be a farmer. I'm like, well, in a lot of cases you would. If you grew up and you enjoyed it and you find pride in the family farm, you can be a farmer. But it's like, there's a lot of pride you get from doing an actual job. And I think that's why you see a lot of these people that, seem to lean left or support this crazy shit, or they feel like guilty for bullshit that they shouldn't feel guilty about. Is I think those are people that have jobs. They make good money, but the amount of effort that went into making that money, like physical effort or whatever, is pretty low. And I think because
they feel
of that,
guilty about it?
Well, I think because of that, they're lacking something. And I think through that lack comes the guilt.
Well, I think they instill that lackness to their kids, too.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think that's how you get all these Hollywood folks that, I mean, I think a lot of them probably say shit just so they keep getting work. But you got to think. If you're getting paid to go pretend to do something and you get paid millions of dollars, you don't have to worry about really a whole lot of anything because you got a lot of money. But what did you do to make that money? I know, like, oh, no, I did my own stunts in this one movie. I ran, and there was, like, this sand pit, and they're like, we have a stunt double on staff to jump over the sand. No.
I do it myself.
I'm going to jump over that sand pit on my own. It's like, when I made that $25 million to make that picture, that scene with the sand in the pit that I jumped over?
You see that sugar glass? I broke?
That was all this.
I jumped through that. I did that.
That was all me.
I deserve all my $25 million.
In actuality, I mean, they're really not, But, like, I think if someone makes a lot of money with, not a whole lot of effort, I think that's where that guilt comes from. And they're like, we should give more money to this. And I'm like, when you do your taxes, there's a line where you can pay extra taxes to pay for all the crazy bullshit you want to do. You should fill that in.
I wonder if they do. I'd love to see if anybody from Hollywood or any rich like, fucking wacko, super left-leaning person ever actually fills in that line.
Well, and I don't know the numbers, but look up how much money that Biden and Joe and Joe, have given away for charity versus the Trumps, and just compare the numbers and see who really cares about people. I don't know what the numbers are. I know he donated a salary. I don't think Joe's doing that.
No, well, Joe's
That's
been in
$400,000.
Joe's been in Congress and been in politics for what? Is it? How long has it been? 36, 53?
Almost half a century.
So almost a half a century, and somehow he's made millions upon millions of dollars.
That's the same thing with Nancy Pelosi. She's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and she's done nothing other than be a congresswoman and a horrible, embarrassing to humanity. Not just her district, humanity. I guarantee you, there are people in other countries that just laugh when she gets up there because not only, she's obviously a partier because she's either high on some kind of opiate or she's drunk. But just
for sure.
Like, oh, look at that crazy Nancy. They made her Speaker of the House. Those crazy Americans.
So, something I wanted to bring up before we go here, because we're coming up on almost an hour, I think.
Yeah, I think
27. Congress just approved themselves for another 26% raise for their wages. So, just want to let America know that while we're suffering through an inflationary just bullshit, Congress decided to give itself a 26% raise to compensate itself for the inflation. So, I don't know if I was a conspiracy theorist. I'd kind of say that maybe Congress kind of helped us move this inflationary period along so they can give themselves a raise. I don't know. Is 26%? Is 26% a normal number?
Yeah, that's pretty high. Like, I would love to get a 26% bonus or raise. Here's the thing about that. So, when you do your local elections and you're paying attention to shit. Let's say, like, here in this town, they wanted to revamp. Well, here's the funny thing. They wanted to build this baseball stadium, and they put it on the ballot as a proposition, and it failed. And guess what? We have a new baseball stadium. But they wanted to revamp the Civic Center, and they're like, oh, we're going to be all these, acts, and it's going to pay all this much money, and blah, blah, and it's only going to be this much more on your property tax. Well, the city has to vote on that. And I don't know, this might be controversial. If you don't pay property tax, you have no business voting on a proposition that raises property tax. If you ain't contributing, sorry.
Well, I don't believe there should be property tax, period.
No, it's totally illegal and bogus. But that's what it should be with Congress. Like, if Congress wants a raise, it should be brought up.
That to court?
What?
Property tax?
We should take it to court. I know one guy running for governor who was in the primaries was going to get rid of it. And I guess the people down here just really love Abbott. So,
what?
Yeah.
They decided that Abbott was the better choice than the guy that's going to get rid of their property tax?
See, what we need to do is have Ron DeSantis, get rid of property tax, and then Abbott will. Abbott's like the mini-me.
Yeah.
But what I was hinting at is if Congress wants a raise, that should be a proposition on the vote in November.
Agreed.
And guess what? They'd never get another raise. And they know that.
Nope.
But they should not have the ability to give themselves a raise.
No, that's fucking retarded. If I could fucking give myself a raise, I'd do it every year. And a 26% one.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So that makes me think that the inflation numbers that the Biden administration is putting out is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because
it absolutely is. I don't know what they base their raises off of. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but it was definitely 26%.
Yeah. Well, I know
no one heard about it.
Last time I filled my truck up, it cost $183.
It was something I read. It was just an offside board.
Obama or Biden.
Like, it wasn't even the main thing about the article I read about that shit. It was just like an offsite like an offside blur, but they gave themselves 26% raise.
That's like what? It's almost $50,000.
Yeah. Well,
Something like that.
bread costs more. So
It does cost more. And noodles. If you like noodles, they cost more.
well, anything made out of wheat, really.
Gluten.
All right.
It's poison.
It is poison.
If you're gluten intolerant.
All right. I think
that probably wraps up the First Amendment and everything else.
I think we went way off on this one, but what are you going to do? Freedom series.
Freedom!
Episode 1.2. Freedom and more. So, I would like to say thank you to all our listeners. Please rate, comment, subscribe, please, and join all our social media for amazing content.
That's right.
It will be amazing once you actually join, because it's really hard to write for 4 people.
But
just tell you that.
We're willing to do it. But we are on Facebook, Twitter, Truth, Rumble, YouTube, Locals. I think that's it. Oh, and then Spotify, Twitch, Google, Apple Podcast. We're out there. Give us the font. Give us.
And if we get enough subscribers that ask, maybe I'll join an OnlyFans. I don't know. Just so you can see all this.
That's never gonna happen. Not trying to be mean. Reality check.
Yeah, you sent me that meme this one today. That's what made me think about it. But if you want me to, I will, because I need the cash. All right, America. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Josh.
And this was The Lost Art of Common Sense. Thank you.